What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another Gunpla review, and this one's going to be in parts because I'm going to unbox this one first, then do a review. And of course, this is the Hi Resolution model Gundam Barbatos from Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. This is definitely going to be an interesting unboxing and review, as Bandai have never really done anything like this before, and a lot of you have been asking me whether or not I will be doing this because, just like me, I'm sure you're interested in seeing how this will turn out. So first off, there is the box, and there is a comparison of it with the 1/100th Chimaras. As you can see, it's exactly the same size, and this is pretty much the standard size of any master grade box as well. So that's what you're looking at right here. And I thought this would be put in a more interesting box, but it's not. As you can see, if I turn this around, this is just essentially your standard Gunpla box. Pretty much the same thing, just in black. Kinda looks like a big real grade or something. And I won't lie to you, I have looked in it already, and I have to say I am not really impressed. Anyway, let's bust this thing open and see what we've got. First off, the outside of the box, there is the right-hand side of the box, and of course we have a little picture of the kit here, the same one that's on the front. Here's the front and back, as well as the inner frame, and over here we have some info on the high-resolution model, what it's all about, the Gundam frame, as well as the way that the parts have been colored. Flip that around, and on this side, it's pretty much the same again. You've got some info on the Gundam frame, as well as the weapons. And over here you've got the recommended retail price, and that there is essentially what this model kit retails for. And if you're into Gunpla, you usually know that Gunpla is on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to like otaku hobbies, but this is pretty crazy. You can seriously get some perfect grades for that price. No joke. So thankfully I have upgraded my setup lately, so I have a lot more room to like move around with these sorts of things. It's kind of perfect for a video like this. But anyway, let's open this up and see what we've got in here. I've opened this up already, I won't lie, just to take a peek. And I wasn't so impressed by what I saw. Let's open it together and see exactly what's in here. So there is off with the top, and there is what we have inside. So over here is the Gundam frame, and over here is the rest of the armor parts, as well as the weapons. So just like regular Gunpla, you're going to have to cut all this out, file it off, clean it up, and put it together. So there is the first runner. I'll take each of these out so we can have a look. I'm not going to edit this video all that much. I kind of want to get it up as quickly as possible. Whoa, something went flying there. I got this a little bit late because the shop I usually buy from didn't have them. Watch out with these stickers. These stickers back here. So we do have one small foil in here. I'm not sure if this is it, there might be more in there, but hopefully there isn't. And this looks like it's for a lens of some sort, probably on one of the weapons. Next then is this runner H, and this popped already. I hope this isn't like a foreboding sign of how weak the plastic is gonna be, but on here we have a few colors, kind of like you see on a lot of A runners in other kits. So far what I can see is what looks like some parts of his cannon. This looks like more of it as well, so that comes in a few different colors. More parts here. I think this looks like some of the backpack. Got some of the hands here as well. I'll get in quite a little bit closer there to the hands and stuff. I hope that's in focus. But to those of you that are really interested in master grade and whatnot, you'll probably realize that the mold here, it doesn't really look as sharp. It's a little bit soft, if you get what I mean. So that is the first runner anyway. On to the next one. So in the next bag, we've got two E runners, so I'll move one of them out of the way for now. And what we've got on here is a lot of the outer armor parts. I'm not sure how clear that is in the video, but these have a kind of pearlescentness to them. That looks really nice. I can't tell if that's paint or if it's infused into the plastic, but that does look pretty cool. Again, these look like some armor parts of the feet, arms, and the backpack as well there. Next now onto runner A3, and this contains all the blue parts of the kit, and they're in a nice metallic blue. As you can see in the underside there, that these are painted, so they're given a coating. This is not the color of the plastic, and that does mean if you cut them you will see through the silver color inside. So if these aren't undergated, they will suck. And for the most part, like over here, you can see that they are, but on this part here for the chest, they're not, are they? They're just going right into the sides. If that isn't covered up by another armor part, that is going to look horrendous. I'm going to assume they thought about it while making this, and that won't be the case. But I guess I'll tell you when I review it. So next here we have runner C, and this is all the metallic gray parts. And this looks pretty cool again. Again, this is kind of a a gunmetal, a kind of not so like directly shiny metallic. This is, how can I say, like sparkly gray. It does really nicely catch the light and that looks really cool. But again, I'm not sure if this is a coating, a paint, or if this is infused into the plastic. It looks so far like it may be a coating. And again, if it is and this isn't undergated, you're going to have some nasty looking parts. Next up then, and we've got two G runners. I'll move one out of the way, and so far you can see there is a lot of actual building to be done in this kit. It's actually more than I'd initially expected, and it kind of makes me wonder, why didn't they just make you build the frame yourself and make this some kind of master grade? Even if they took what they have here and made it into a master grade, no coating, just standard plastics, and have you build this, I don't know. It seems a bit gimmicky, but I hope it completely turns my opinion around. But anyway, this is Runner G, and I have to admit, even though I've built multiple versions of the Barbatos, I'm having a bit of a hard time deciphering what these are from. I see a barrel which must be from the cannon or something like that. This part looks like it may be from the backpack, but because there's two of them, I'm assuming it's from the limbs or something like that. Something that there's two parts of. So that does mean this does differ a lot from the 1/100, that is for sure. Next up now we've got F1 and F2. And as you can see, F2 is just this part duplicated, so we'll just take a look at this one. And they've gone a bit real grade with this kit, which I definitely approve of. Basically, these are a second tone of white for on here. So that means it's split into white and a light grey. So that means the armor is split up into a white and a light grey, so that will mix it up a lot. So that will be pretty cool. Now this runner right here, A1. When I opened it up to take a look at it myself before I opened it up for this unboxing video, this one right here really made me shudder. So you can see in here, this has been coated just like the other parts. So this has been sprayed in chrome and then probably a clear yellow afterwards, I assume. And underneath will probably be a black or a white plastic. So when you cut this with your nippers, that will show through. So usually they undergate that. But what do you do with parts like this? Well, the last thing I would suggest doing is something like this down here. The runner parts are connecting right into the bottom there. When you cut those, you're going to see that straight away. And same with this part up here. I have a feeling this isn't going to look too great. Same goes for these parts on the shoulders. These are undergated, but they're still going into the side slightly. So I'm guessing they expected to put these parts towards the back and these ones towards the front, but that does mean from the back you will spot these little nubs here, and that will be a bit of an eyesore. I have to say I hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling I'm not. So next up here now we've got runner A2, and we've got pretty much the same thing going on here, right? So this is again a chromed part with a clear red over it. You can see in some of these sections here, you can see into the chrome, but for the most part here I am seeing that they are undergated, except for one part really that can't be undergated, and that is this here. This section right here is for the chin, and as you can see just on the very tip of the chin, we have a part going in there, so that may not be too apparent from the front, but when you're building it, you sure will cringe. Now this runner here, runner B, this one is what I'm talking about. This is the difference from the 1/100 that makes this all the worthwhile to me. I hate the stickers on the 1/100, on the pink parts, but now we've got these nice clear pink sections. So this might be something you've seen a million times or even done a million times if you customize your own kits. But these are all in clear pink, but they've sprayed the back section in this nice chrome silver. So when you see through into it, it's got that kind of sparkly, cool reflectiveness. Kind of like with the Master Grade Age series where you got those kind of chrome metallic stickers for on the back. But this is pretty damn cool. And the last of the runners then is runner D, and with this one I've noticed something I really did not want to notice. That awesome pearlescent look in the plastic, well, it's not in the plastic at all. Flip it over and it's just standard white plastic. It's got a little bit of a shine to it, which you'd normally see with some plastics, but not that. So that means any parts on here that aren't undergated, which is pretty much them all from what I can see, you're not really going to be able to clean them up with a file or sandpaper. You're just going to have to take your chances with a knife, and that can get a bit nasty sometimes. Again, I am feeling a bit weary about this kit. It's got some good points, but at the same time, kind of limits you in a lot of ways, in the way you clean it up or the way you paint it, or anything like that. So, I don't know, to me, it just all seems like a strange thing to do. Why didn't they just go all the way and make a master grade, not this kind of half-painted already thing that you can't really work with? I don't know. I guess we're going to find out. So moving on to the last thing now, and probably what makes this kit unique, and that is the pre-built inner frame. So I think that just slides out like so. Let's bust this thing out and see what we've got here. So first off, there's the outer box, and you can see the picture of the inner frame itself. Pretty nice touch. Up here in the corner they have the actual fully armored Barbatos face. There's the side and it says Gundam frame. Flip it around and it says Gundam frame again, but the picture continues on here, and on the back is the shoulder of that fully armored Barbatos there. So this just slides out like that, and this is very reminiscent so far of the frame arms. I think Bandai might have gotten a bit of inspiration there. So finally, there is that inner packaging containing the inner frame, and I'm seeing a lot of nice looking shiny parts. I've noticed a lot of people have referred to this figure as a wannabe metal build. Well, the main difference would be, besides the obvious which would be the armor, would be that this is made in the Shizuoka Gunpla factory, whereas Metal Build is made by Tamashii Nations. So one of my biggest problems with Tamashii Nations is I'm not a big fan of their quality control. I've gotten so many things by them that just have had like nub marks all over the place and just not the greatest quality all around. Now this is by the Gunpla factory in Shizuoka, so I'm hoping this is going to be like absolutely perfect. Considering a metal build comes all put together, and by the way, when I'm talking about the quality control, I have never ever handled a metal build. So I'm not talking about those, I'm talking about other figures. Especially their Robot Tamashii figures. But anyway, let's get them out of here. So first off, in here we have this, if I can get it out of there that is, and that is the base adapter. So these are one aspect of Gunpla I have a bit of a problem with. They should come with more than one, because so many times I've misplaced base adapters for kits, and once you lose it you're screwed because they're not universal across all master grades. And I'm gonna guess by looking at this that that's gonna be the same here. I wish there was 2 or 3, it wouldn't cost them that much extra to put it in, but once you lose it, or if you lose it, that sucks. But anyway, on to the main event, let's scrutinize. Okay, I am sold. This thing is absolutely glorious. All the plastic parts, as you would expect from the plastic wizards over at the Shizuoka factory, are perfect. And I mean perfect. There is nothing out of line, no nub marks, no nothing here. This is sheer perfection, and the variation among plastics, it looks so good. As for the die-cast parts, they do come with a lot of the issues you would see usually with die-cast parts. And oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention, there are die-cast parts. This thing is nice and hefty. Everything about this is so damn perfect. If I had to actually search for something bad to say, it would be this one piston section here in the back. You can see there's a little something there on the metallic brassy looking part. And to some, that could really irk them, especially if you're really particular. But to me, I guess something that small isn't the biggest deal. So while I have it out like this, I'm going to take a quick look at the articulation on the inner frame, as I'm not going to take all the armor off after putting it on. It's an expensive model, so I'm not going to chance breaking anything. So first off, there is the neck all the way to the front. There it is all the way to the back. So not a whole lot going on there, really. There it is to the right and to the left, and that can go all the way around. So that feels like it's on a standard ball joint there. So as for the arm at the shoulder, there it is all the way up, and oh, that creak's a nasty creak. That is quite stiff, and I know it's the die-cast parts, but that just feels, like I'm gonna break it. The shoulder then, that can move up and down like that, and this little piston part moves in and out. That's pretty cool. So we've got some interesting looking sections here on the front and the back, so that looks like that can move. That's not good. So this shoulder section up here, this piston part I was just looking at, just popped out, and damn, you wouldn't want to lose something that small. Anyway, while that is out, what I was gonna say is, this section here can move out like that, and in like that there. So we've got another piston there on the back that moves out when you rotate it like that, and back in again. And that's attached to this front section of plastic, which moves up and down. But again, this thing feels fragile. Anyway, next up we have a rotation here at that part there. Next now is the bend at the elbow. And that's more parts popping out. So far, I'm not so impressed by that. So one more time there, we do have a nice bit of articulation there, but that seems to like to pop out like that. And that does not reach back in there. So that means you cannot go to the full articulation without that part popping out. And if you pop that out and don't notice and put it back, you can end up breaking something. That's the second part to fall off on the one limb. Not a good sign so far, is it? Onto the wrist then, and we've got 2 joints in the wrist, and that's a standard ball at the wrist itself, and this section in here on the hand. So now onto the torso, and as for that ab crunch, we've got 2 points of articulation there. We've got one up here at the top, and one at the waist there. So there's it all the way to the back, and all the way to the front. And I'm going to assume because of these pistons here, we've also got some kind of side-to-side crunch or something here. It doesn't seem to. I'm guessing these are just for show. Unlike the 1/100, we do seem to have some kind of cockpit or something in here. But unlike a Master Grade, we don't have any sort of pilot figure or anything like that. But actually, this is probably just a connection point, really. Now onto the waist unit, and all I can see that moves on here seems to be these two flaps on the front for the front skirt armor. So they just move like anything else you'd see that's similar to that on a Gundam. Next, now onto the actual hips, and let's try and get the leg up. That does not want to move. I'm pushing that pretty hard. Oh, that feels horrible. Absolutely horrible. That is that kind of, I know for a fact I'm going to break something level of tightness right there. That does not feel good again. I know it's the die-cast part and that's probably for strength, but that feels like it's the complete opposite to strength. Out towards the outside though, that feels nice and smooth. And we've also got a bit of rotation in there as well. The joint in there at the hip may loosen over time, but I wouldn't recommend forcing it too much. So next now onto the bend at the knee, and let's hope nothing wants to pop out here. So far so good. That's pretty much it. So that's it for the bend. Not the greatest, but nothing popped out. Lastly then, onto the ankle, and this looks pretty busy down here. So first we've got this part of the ankle, so there's all the way to the front, all the way up. This piston down here comes out very, very smoothly and very, very nicely. As for the side-to-side pivot, that feels pretty good. Not as crazy as what you had on the 1/100, but then again the 1/100 did not have this crazy level of detail right here. Also, unlike the 1/100, it doesn't rotate at this point. Even though the design of the mecha itself tends to imply that this is the point of rotation, it actually rotates inside of that. So that seems kind of funny. They had to do something different on this compared to the actual mechanical design. Because when you build the 1/100, you can actually see the design here, how it's meant to pivot. And I think the same goes with the high grade, but here they went for something completely different. Finally then, the bend at the toes, and there it is all the way up, and there it is all the way down. So there is not much there going on at all. Again, these pistons here are just for show, they don't move, and actually, that's not metal. That's just painted plastic. Anyway, that is it for the articulation. So that is basically it for the unboxing and a quick look at the inner frame. So far, what can I say? I'm very much on the fence about this. The inner frame looks and feels awesome at first, but it's not without its issues. Maybe these issues will be covered up once the armor is put on. Maybe it serves more of a functional role than I would have originally anticipated, so maybe that will help with those parts that like to fall out. If not, they'll be a nightmare to get back in once they fall out when the armor is on. But again, I guess we will find out when I take a look at it very soon. So, thank you very much for watching, and make sure to come back for part 2 where I will be taking a look at it when it's all put together. I'll get it up as quickly as possible. And as always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews. See you next time.